This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic!
What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is October 23rd, 2025. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host, Kevin Tucker. Kevin, the Magic are 1-0 with the 125-121 victory in the home season opener against the Miami Heat. How the heck are we doing, my friend?
Bro, doing great. Our voices sound just about the same because we were at the game tonight and it was super fun and atmosphere was electric, and I'm sure we'll get to all that. But yeah, hey, you start the season 1-0. You start the season 1-0 against Miami. All of the above. I'm feeling really great.
It wasn't pretty. It didn't come, as you talked about on the post-game live, exactly the way that we thought or hoped it would come. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. There are some things I do want to talk about and nitpick a little bit, but we will get to all of that. It is very late or early, depending on how you look at it here. I just got back from Orlando. Nice long drive home. So what we're going to do things a little bit differently. We all want to talk about the game. We're going to get the housekeeping stuff done right out of the gate here. So this episode is brought to you, first of all, by our newest patron, Steve Clifford, who signed up today. Really appreciate that. Anytime we have a brand new patron, we give them a very special shout out.
What a name, by the way. I'm sorry. It's very funny.
No, it's fantastic.
Very funny. Yeah. Sorry. Carry on.
Yep. Keeve Slifford, who signed up today. Anytime we have a brand new patron, we give them a special shout out. What is a patron? A patron are folks that help financially support the show. They went to patreon.com/the6manshow. Pick whatever tier was best for them. We give a special shout out to brand new patrons whenever we have them. And then we also give a special shout out to a portion of our Hall of Fame and Elite tier patrons each and every episode. So this episode is brought to you by Christopher Dees, DC Magic, Debo 1980, Fuchsia, and Drew Gooden. Again, if you like what we do here, head on over to patreon.com/the6manshow. Pick whatever tier works best for you. We can't do any of this without you all. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much. And one thing, Kevin, that we're doing just for our patrons, and I don't know that there's ever been a better time for a giveaway as there is right now, but for our patrons, we are giving away this autographed Jalen Suggs jersey here. So if you want a chance to win that, go ahead and sign up for the Patreon, because we try to give back to the folks that financially support the show. We'll be giving that away to one of our patrons here in the next week or so.
Yeah, and as we've done in the past with Patreon giveaways, if you're an existing patron, you get a little boost. You get 2 times entries into this. But if you're new and you've never joined the Patreon, you're like, I want to join, you'll get an entry as well. And so, yeah, obviously we're going to talk about Jalen Suggs in a little bit, but what a time to be offering that. This was not just like, oh, he had a good game, let's give this away. We already had this planned. And so the fact that Jalen, for a while, and the fact that Jalen did that tonight was really, really cool. So yeah, join us on Patreon for that. We also want to shout out Posick Group. Ken Posick of Posick Group was at the game tonight. He and I were texting about it and stuff tonight. He's also partnered with the Magic this year, which is really cool. So they are your home team on and off the court. They are the most followed real estate brand in Central Florida, and they have over 1,700 5-star reviews. If you are looking to buy or sell your home in Central Florida, Posick Group should be your first stop. You can go to Pozick.com. That's POZEK.com to get in contact with them. Again, if you're looking to buy a home, if you're looking to sell a home, there's no one you should do it with except for the Posick Group. And so big shout out to Ken and his entire team for sponsoring not just us, but hey, again, partnering with the Magic this season. Very, very cool. I know we're going to see a lot more of him and their team all season long. And so big shout out to Posick Group.
And certainly last, but certainly not least is what I meant to say. This episode is brought to you by Jam Hot Chicken. Jam Hot Chicken is proudly serving the city beautiful, and they're bringing jams, culture, and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park, but also now Winter Garden at the Plant Street Market just recently opened up their new location. I was able to stop in there today. never been to the Plant Street area and Plant Street Market. Awesome vibes there. Got to see Andrew and the whole new team. They've got so many new team members over there. And I had the box like I always do, and it was just as good as I remember it. I always have this like split second before I take my first bite of jam hot chicken. I'm like, is it really as good as we hype it up? Is it going to be as good as I remember it? And then I take that bite, and I'm like, yes, it is. So good. They've also got some new items on the menu as well. They've made the 6-man wrap like a staple. They brought that back just for the summer, but they got such a good reaction. They've decided to keep that. So, but we love Jam Hot Chicken. Not only is the food great, but they're diehard Magic fans. So whether you're in Winter Park or you're in Winter Garden, be sure to stop by. Follow them at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media, and head on over to jamhotchickenfl.com to access their menu, order online, find all things Jam Hot. And whether you're ordering online, if you check out online for the Winter Park location, you can use code 6THMAN, SIXTH MAN, at checkout for 10% off. Or at either location, when you check out, you can let them know the 6-Man show sent you, or you want to use code 6MAN, and you'll get 10% off every order and every meal there. So a big shout out to our friends over at Jam Hot Chicken. Be sure to stop by. Let them know that we sent you.
So, Jonathan, before we get into it, it's 1:09 a.m. and we decided to do this live stream because it's a lot easier for us. Behind the scenes, recording the episode, editing it, exporting it, uploading it takes a lot longer than going live. And so we're like, hey, let's go live. I just want to shout out the people that are here. We got a few people in the chat. Evan Joseph says, great meeting some of the guys at the game. Glad we got the W. Absolutely, Evan. That was very cool. Dylan says, Jalen Suggs, king of the city, heart of the O. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Brian Hurd says, De Silva saved us. He shifted the movement with his threes. Franz fought for every point, but it seems like Paolo just tripped into a 20-point game. So wild. So excited. Ben says, Kevin, why didn't you put my Magic chant in the 6-Fan show? I don't know what you're referring to. I deleted a couple videos that didn't make it. I didn't delete anything from yours, so I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. Maybe it's there and you just missed it. I don't know. Let me know or text me or something. And then Jamie says free Jace.
We will talk about that.
We will talk about that. And then
thoughts.
Similarly, Mr. J says poor Tyus. So yeah, shout out you. Yeah. You are either a night owl. Oh, Ben says I saw it. I lied. I thought so. I'm sorry. Thank you. It's okay. Yeah, you guys that are here. Else. Yeah. Okay, yeah. You guys that are here, you're either night owls or early morning people. You guys are crazy. It's 1:10 a.m. But anyway, that's all. Yeah, appreciate those who are with us.
Well, since the last time that we recorded, Jalen Suggs' status for Wednesday's game was like completely up in the air. We really didn't know what was going to happen. I think we even said like if we had to guess, he wasn't going to play. And then Tuesday, we hear that like he played 5-on-5, full contact, and that his status for Wednesday was just kind of up in the air to see how he was going to respond. I don't know if that was Tuesday or Monday that we got that news. All of that news is kind of blurring together. But everything that we saw, and then we saw some reactions on social media. Jalen Suggs, made a post, him, in the scrimmage. Guys are commenting on it, hyping him up and all that. And it's like, within a matter of minutes, it went from Jalen probably isn't going to play Wednesday to, oh my gosh, like he's definitely playing Wednesday. Yeah. Like we were told without really being told, and then it became he's available, and then it was okay. Well, is he going to start? And then shortly before tip off, we hear that he's going to start. And this was just such a special day. We all know with the rebrand and adding Desmond Bain to this team, and then when you started to get wind that it could be Jalen Suggs' return, and the first time he was playing since I believe it was January, just turned into like a really memorable, special day in Magic history. And we'll talk about the environment at the game because it was fantastic. The excitement, everyone that you talk to, super eager to get the season started and see what this team is going to look like. But those pregame like player intros, I have never felt energy like that in that building for the player intros and the starting lineups and everything like that. And when Jalen comes up on the video board, I mean, that's as loud as I've ever heard that place for a player intro.
Yeah, the whole thing was really fun. it was definitely tied to like certain guys. Obviously, like the Jalen thing was great. Mo Wagner though, like
Oh my gosh, the Mo pop was wild.
in street clothes, like
Yeah.
that had to be just an incredible feeling.
Was not expecting that. And
Yeah, that
awesome.
was wild. But his reception was great. Franz, great. Paolo, great. Yeah, all of them were great. But yeah, the Jalen one was pretty. He also likes to milk those moments. Like, you know,
I
he's
love it.
going, you know,
I
other
love it
guys,
so
you know, they,
much.
but I do too. But yeah, I mean, I also loved everybody. Most guys had a little dance, and Desmond as well got a big ovation. So that was really, really fun, really special, and it definitely kind of set the tone for, you know, the night that was ahead.
I have to apologize in advance here. We do now know who the new PA announcer is. And
Yeah.
You could probably pull up his name. I don't remember it off the top of my head just yet.
Jared. That's all
Yeah,
I
I know
remember.
it's
I'll find his
Jared. I
last
think
name.
it starts with a B, if I'm not mistaken. But so it was the announcer from the Miami Heat pregame is who that ended up being, if I'm remembering correctly, not the Pelicans game.
Oh, preseason game. Yes. Yeah.
Preseason game,
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
did I
That's
say?
that's you said Miami pregame, and I was like, pregame of what?
Oh,
No,
Sorry,
preseason. Yep, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't there. We neither of us were there for the Heat preseason game. I thought he did a really good job tonight.
Jared Tribble. That's his name. There you go.
I knew there. Okay, didn't start with a B. There's a B in there.
That's
couple
true.
of them.
Two of them actually. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He comes from Ohio State. He did Ohio State basketball among other things, but yeah.
That's
So
a
yeah.
big gig.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Big deal.
Obviously, this is a big gig.
Yeah, first NBA stop for him as well. This is, so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And-
But yeah, it was great. It was electric, and yeah, it was fun. What were we saying?
And we got the stand and cheer.
We did. Yep, we got stand and cheer. He used that line a few times tonight. Stand and cheer for your Orlando Magic, and then obviously fourth quarter Star Wars music, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Felt right.
exciting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this game gets started off, and obviously there's tons of energy around it. Jalen Suggs' start wasn't the best. I know you talked about that on the postgame live, like 2 quick fouls. Norman Powell hits like an and 1-3 to start the game, hits another 3 from the corner a couple of possessions later. And that really kind of spelled what this game was going to look like, because that's really what it turned into. The Heat knocking down tough shots basically all night to kind of keep them in the game. And their percentage, honestly, wasn't as good as what I thought it was going to be. At one point, they were 7 of 12 from behind the arc to start this game. They ended up 12 of 35. So that means they went 5 of 23 like over their, the rest of the game there. The pace, I know we will talk about that. Magic 125, 121 over the Miami Heat. 65 points, I believe they gave up in the first half. They were up 65, 69. And we were talking about it with listeners at the half of just how different this team looked, the pace, the way that the offense was flowing, the way that guys were knocking down shots. But everybody said the same thing, like, this is not the defense that we are used to. And I think it was in the third quarter that the Heat went up 12, if I'm remembering correctly. Magic come back. Tristan Da Silva hit some big shots in the third quarter. Both teams kind of just going back and forth for the most part of the fourth. Where the game like really flipped on its head, though, as it was inching towards the conclusion, is Jalen Suggs comes back in with either like 5 minutes or like 5 minutes and some change, or 4 minutes and some change. And he just made such a difference after those first couple of minutes. But he just made such a difference every minute that he was on the floor tonight. And there's probably like 5 or 6 guys that we'll talk about that you just quite frankly don't win this game without. But especially those last few minutes, the plays from Jalen Suggs, I'm thinking, I forget exactly what the score was, but Jalen goes into like a dribble package in the mid-range and then kind of gets caught, turns around a couple of times, and then just like fades, falls down to the ground, hits the shot. I think it either tied or put the Magic up 2. There's that other possession where he missed the shot, loose ball, guys are falling all over the place. Guys are diving to the ground. Somehow Desmond Bane comes up with the loose ball, comes up with it, and is like screaming, "That's our ball, that's our ball." A few minutes before that, the Jalen Suggs, Norm Powell, like fast break charge that he takes. Jalen gets up screaming, walks directly over to Eric Spoelstra, like not face to face. This might have been my favorite
He's a
moment
maniac,
of the night.
bro.
Just looks him right in the eye and says, "Go ahead and challenge that. Enter expletive here." And I was like, "I love this. I hope you're right."
Yeah, and it was close.
It
was
was
a close call.
It was very
Eric
close.
Spoelstra, one of the greatest coaches in the history of this league.
Yeah, he is.
18 seasons he's been with Miami, and Jalen Suggs just barks at him, like points.
He's the man.
And it wasn't just him; like he was talking to the whole bench. But yeah, I mean, he looked him dead in the eyes. I just, oh my
awesome.
gosh, that dude is so crazy. And
He's
I
a
love
psychopath.
It. He's
He
a
genuinely
psycho.
is.
Oh man,
And then
that was crazy.
Wendell, who I know we'll talk about this, but did not have like a good first 44 minutes. But those last 4 minutes with the offensive
Huge.
rebounds, the putback, knocking down the free throws, just coming down with big rebound after big rebound. And I know we'll talk about the stars, Paolo, Franz, Desmond Bain. Those guys were incredible. Those guys are doing things that we're going to count on them to do night in and night out. But it's those ancillary pieces, those other guys, that if this team is going to take that next step and achieve the things that we think that they can achieve, those are the kind of things that we're going to need, and those are the kind of performances that we're really going to need. So, again, we wanted to crush the Heat. I wanted to win by 50 tonight and just like leave no doubt whatsoever. But first night, they're still very much figuring things out. To come away with a win in a tight pressure situation, to see guys make big plays, to have Jalen Suggs back in the lineup, hyping the crowd up like I've never seen any other athlete in the history of sports do. He's a showman. He, in the truest sense of the word. And man, tell me if this is a hot take, and you can correct me if you feel differently, but that's almost as loud as I've ever heard that building.
Yeah, I mean, there were look, 2024. I mean, you were there. Like game 6, that series, like that.
I said almost. I didn't say as loud.
Okay, almost.
I said
Certainly
almost.
regular season, I think, no doubt. Like it's one
Like,
of the best
I want to
ones,
say
yeah.
there's a timeout with like 6 or 7 minutes left, and like the organic "Let's Go Magic" chant that broke out.
Yeah,
We just haven't had a lot of that, and I compare tonight and the mix of Heat fans that were there to the 2024 Black Friday in-season tournament game, or now it's the NBA Cup against Boston, where it felt like there was close to 50-50 there, Magic fans, Celtics fans during that game. Whenever the Celtics started to get going and their fans got into it, Magic fans would jump right on it, kind of drown them out. Tonight it felt like it was closer to like 75-25, Magic fans to Heat fans, maybe even a better ratio than that. Yeah. But every time those idiots started their "Let's Go Heat," there was just a shower of boos instantly to drown that out, and was really happy about that. But yeah, man, just a great win. All things considered, with this being the first game of the season, Jalen Suggs being back, getting the win, I'm going to remember this one for a really long time, and it was so much fun to be there.
It was very, very memorable. And obviously, how memorable it ends up being will be determined by how this season goes, right? Because it'll be memorable forever. But if this team somehow falls flat on their face, and it's less memorable. But if this team does what we think it could, it's going to be great. A couple things. One, referring back to the atmosphere. How about it's a soft launch of sorts, but how about the first whiteout in
It was sick.
Probably Orlando Magic history? Like back in the 90s, there would be a lot of white shirts, but not coordinated. It's just, back in the 90s, people just wore a lot of white shirts, So I think this might have been the first, attempt at some version of a whiteout. Again, it's regular season. You're not going to get a ton of participation, not full participation at least, but I still feel like most people were wearing white, whether they put on the shirt or brought their own or whatever. And the effect of that, combined with these new jerseys and the floor and just the visual vibe of the night I thought was really cool too, which is a very nerdy, stupid thing to say, but that's just
I
how
don't
I
think
felt.
it's stupid at all. I do want to give credit and kind of tip our hat that like the intro video, all the video board stuff tonight, I thought was incredible. I thought they did such a good job with that stuff.
That's an outrageous amount of work, by the way. Putting so many different video sources in so many different, because if you watch, there's not one video playing everywhere. There's 3 to 4 videos playing at a time, across all the different sized boards and stuff. And so, yeah, shout out to that whole team. That was great.
I did, to your point about the shirts really fast. In my section, unfortunately, in 109, at least in front of me, there were a lot of people that weren't wearing. And my thing is like, look, it's the color. It's not about the shirt. So like, if you're there, you're wearing white. You don't want to put the shirt on. Whatever.
That's right.
I know in other arenas, like OKC specifically, I know they like really encourage it. Like it's a culture of like, hey, we wear the shirt, right? Like, and I'm like, my thing again is like, if you're wearing the color, great. You don't want to wear the shirt, whatever. If you're wearing the color, we're all blending in and to like the television broadcast and the players on the floor, it just looks like a wave of white or whatever. I don't want to say we need to like shame people into wearing the shirt or like bully people into wearing the shirt.
No, I'm okay with that.
We need to set a culture of like, wear the freaking shirt.
Yeah.
If you're there and you're wearing black or you're wearing blue or you're wearing orange, put on the freaking shirt, man. Like, did you pay to come and just sit here, or do you want this team to win, right? And that's what we can do. Like when you're there, you can use your voice and you can like be a physical, like visual representation of some type of unity and intimidating the other team to a certain extent. Yeah. So like, if you're in a section and people aren't wearing the shirt, just like gently suggest like, hey, you should put on the shirt.
Yeah. And as we, at some point, whether it's now or in a few minutes, as we turn the conversation towards basketball, I just wanted to add, you mentioned there's certain parts of this game that, we think could have been better, or especially this new version of the Orlando Magic. I want to be encouraged for myself, but also I want to encourage others. Go look at the scoreboard around the NBA tonight. Go look at it, because if you think the Magic didn't play up to their standard defensively or whatever, fill in the blank, whatever shortcomings you think this team had tonight, this team got a win. Look at some of the scores around the league, because you look at a Clippers team who lost by 20-something to the Utah Jazz. And I when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm sure they were already doing, resting guys. No, they played their 3 big guys, and they lost by 20 against the Utah Jazz. Or who was it that lost to the Raptors? The Hawks. The Hawks lost to the Raptors by 20 tonight. The Toronto Raptors. This new look Atlanta Hawks that everyone's saying, could be better than the Magic and all that kind of stuff. They lost by 20 to Toronto. Detroit, they were getting blown out by Chicago. They came back, but then they still lost. So Detroit lost to Chicago. So look around the league and you go, okay, it's opening night. This is to be expected. Some teams are going to struggle, but hey, at least we found a way to win, and in very entertaining fashion at that. So I hope that can be some level of encouragement, as we get into talking about this game.
Yeah, let's go ahead and really get into it here. So again, 125, 121. Heat shot 48% from the floor, 34% from behind the arc. They shoot 27 free throws. I you know where I'm going. The officiating in this game was not good. I don't care what anybody says. Like, just from a product standpoint, it did feel like at times there wasn't a lot of flow in this game, and it was clunky. And especially the first 3 quarters felt like they dragged on forever. And there was just so much where we were seeing the Heat get calls on their end that the Magic were not getting. I don't know how many times Jovic must have pushed Wendell in the back, like going for, defensive rebounds on their end. And then like Franz like grazes Jovic in transition with the forearm, and he gets, called for the whistle. Magic end up shooting 35 free throws in this game. At times it was up and down, but just overall shooting what is that? 62 free throws in a game. Like that.
Yeah.
That's just not good for the product. But it is what it is. The one that really drove me wild was the Franz on. I forget. Was it Wiggins? There was a block that they called a foul that got reviewed, and the ruling was, although Wagner makes initial contact with the ball, it's like, well, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I've always thought the rule was like, once you like block the ball, like it's a live ball. Like,
That's right.
Doesn't matter the contact that comes after it.
Right. If you get the ball first. Yeah. If you get
Yeah.
the ball first. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was really strange. They are still working on some of the audio stuff, it seems like, in Kia. We couldn't hear the referees. Like, maybe that was on the referee. I mean, maybe he wasn't using the equipment correctly, but that was really difficult to hear at the various points throughout the night whenever he would speak over the PA. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. Magic shoot 46% from the floor, 40% from behind the arc, 12 for 30 from three. 29 for 35 at the free throw line. Out-rebounded by 1 by the Heat. They had 23 assists to Miami's 26 and had 15 turnovers to Miami's 17. The biggest thing for me, I know, is probably most people's takeaway, is that the defense just wasn't good enough. And I know we can look around the league, and it's one game. I don't want to overreact, but like if we're going to talk about this game, let's talk about it. And if we're going to nitpick anything, that's really the main thing. And the reason that I mostly bring it up is because it just hasn't felt like through 4 preseason games and now the 1 regular season game that the Magic have had any sense of like a prolonged stretch of really defending at their standard. Now, fourth quarter, push game to shove, when this team needed stops, they got stopped and they looked awesome. And they like, especially that possession where Desmond Bane ends up on the ground. Guys are like rotating and flying all over the place and looked like the Magic. I know there's this emphasis on pace and, moving the ball and scoring a lot of points, and that's awesome. I don't think it's going to, and I don't want it to come at like our defensive identity. I think that's always going to be the biggest strength of this team, because they don't have a ton of shooting. There will be lulls where the offense doesn't look great, as there was tonight. Yeah. Especially with a point guard who we'll talk about on the floor. But like at some point we need to sort of get that tightened up. And I wanted to kind of give proper context to this. So I went around the league and just looked at, the efficiencies of different teams. And in terms of defensive rating, the Magic were the 6th best team in the league so far with a defensive rating of 108.0. For context, that would have been the 2nd best in the league last year. But over the course of a season, like each team's defensive rating tends to just creep up a little bit over the course of a year. So what is, 108 right now, you could be, 113, 114 as the year goes on and the offenses get a little bit better. And in terms of offensive rating, so far the Magic are 10th in the league with an offensive rating of 112.6, which last year that would have put them, about like 20th in the league, like right around there. But offensive rating is another one of those things that tends to climb, over the course of the year. So the Magic got a win, and in some facets of the game, they're playing just as well as anybody did through one game. So it's nothing that we want to draw overall conclusions from. It definitely is something that I'm going to be paying attention to, and it wouldn't be such a big deal had we, seen even like a full quarter of like really good defense in the preseason. But what did you think about it?
Honestly, there's not a world that exists in which you can be so pace oriented like this team is talking about and even showing now. And let me back up. Be pace oriented full time and be defense oriented full time. It's not possible. Like, that's not how it works. If you're going to be pushing the pace, that means you're going to be rushing the ball up the court, which can cause turnovers, and you're going to be getting up quick shots, which means the other team can get back or the opposite. You won't be able to get back while the other team is, running out or whatever. I just can't mentally get there where both are possible. Now you can
counter. OKC 5th in pace last year, 1st in defense.
Sure, that's great. You can be good in both of those things. But it's just a rare breed to be able to be elite defensively and fast paced. And certainly not game one. That's the biggest thing for me,
fair.
right? Like nothing I saw tonight surprised me. Well, let me back up. That's not true. Several things surprised me today. When it comes to this conversation, going into this game, knowing how the Magic wanted to play, I was not surprised that we gave up a lot of points. Do I think it'll get better? Yeah, I do. I also think it's going to slow down. And maybe that's just the doubter in me. I just cannot believe we're going to play at this pace for 82 games. Like that just seems, and maybe it's just because we've played so differently for the last 3-4 seasons, but I just can't imagine doing this for 82 games. So I think it'll all level out eventually, but those were some of my thoughts on that.
I will say the last 5 minutes, 29 seconds with Jalen Suggs on the floor, this team's defensive rating was 66.7.
Yeah.
I think that's a big factor in the game, the amount of minutes that Jalen Suggs played tonight, which let me pull that up here, go back to all periods. Yeah, Jalen Suggs only played 16 minutes, 30 seconds. And over the course of the entire game, Jalen Suggs had an 83.7 defensive rating.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Tyus Jones a little bit? Because I was
going to say, do we want to talk about some good things first? We haven't talked about any good things yet.
We talked some good things. How obviously the win and how some of the ancillary pieces played.
Yeah. I was more so saying good. Let's talk about some good individual performances before we talk about a bad one. How about that?
Sure.
Sprinkle it in there.
Okay, well, let's just go into the Jalen Suggs Glaze Fest because I've been thinking about that for 2 hours on the drive home. So for first of all, I've just never seen any athlete ever interact with the crowd the way that Jalen Suggs does in a game. There was I forget what play it was in the fourth quarter, but he's going down the sideline high-fiving fans during the game. Every time out, he's raising his arms up, trying to get the crowd into it. Wendell's shooting free throws. He's trying to quiet the crowd down. Just the way that he feeds into it and the energy that he had in this game, the minutes that he was in, this team just plays at a different level. And there was that play late in the fourth where he goes into this dribble move and the handle in that moment. I feel like in previous years, Jalen Suggs turns the ball over there. And he goes into this package, goes behind the back, stops, pivots again, turns around, hits the shot as he's falling away. And his energy is just so infectious. Franz talked about it after the game. Paolo and Desmond Bane talked about it after the game. It sounds silly to say I forgot how good he is and the impact that he has on this team. I just don't know that I've ever had more fun watching any athlete play any sport as I do watching Jalen Suggs. It's just the crazy, most wild, unhinged experience you could imagine. And he is getting close to being my very favorite athlete of all time.
Oh, wow. That's
and yes, we have a great relationship with him. But even if we didn't, he's just such a great dude and is so much fun to watch play basketball.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, balls to the wall, all out, every single play. Literally seems like he's willing to die on the floor. And to embrace the atmosphere and the fans, in the building that he's playing in. And he just got a knack for making big plays and making winning plays and helping this team win games.
Yeah.
And it's just the coolest thing ever.
It is the coolest thing. Yeah, he's the best. And there's the tangibles of any athlete, but in this case, Jalen Suggs. There's the tangibles. He brings you great defense. You know, he can shoot the basketball. He can make the extra pass, all those things. But the intangibles for Jalen Suggs are just, the list is just too great. You know, I mean, the way he impacts the team defensively, the way he, like you said, gets the crowd going, the way he runs his mouth at the opposing coach, you know,
So
Hall of
cool.
Famer, you know, like all those things, like just adds up to this larger than life, wild maniac that we all love very dearly. So
Speaking of maniacs, we've got 45 people watching this at almost 2 a.m.
yeah, all of you are maniacs. You guys are weirdos just like us. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, all I had to say, like, it's a reminder of what we missed over the last 40 games or whatever it was that he was out last year. And yeah, and it's like, oh, that's why we had all, not the sole reason, but one of the reasons why we had so many issues last year was not having him. And so having him back, it's great. Played 16 minutes. That's more than I expected, by the way. I thought it was going to be like 12. So to see him play 16 was great. This weekend is going to be interesting. Magic are on a back-to-back Friday, Saturday. Does Jalen play in one of those games, not the other? That's going to be something I'm keeping an eye on. But yeah, again, great to have Jalen back, and he's one of the leading reasons why I think we won this game tonight.
14 points in 16 and a half minutes with 6 of 7 from the floor.
Yeah.
2 of 3 from behind the arc. And, man, this city wanted to see that dude play so badly tonight. And every time he did anything, the crowd just erupted. And he was great. Has the steal late in the layup. I wanted him to dunk that so badly.
I was surprised he didn't. Like, yeah.
Well, pregame, as they're warming up, like they're in the layup line, I saw him throw a lob off of the bat. And I'm like, okay, he must be feeling pretty good. And
Yeah.
I was worried, especially with the nature of the knee injury, it being like a cartilage injury and the recovery taking as long as it did. I was like, is he going to be the same guy? And he doesn't seem like he has lost a freaking step. In fact, offensively, he might be better.
Yeah.
He just seemed more under control tonight. Just better decision making, and he talked about that on the episode that we did with him right before training camp started. You know, he awesome. You know, going 200 miles an hour. You know, can go 0. He needs to kind of find that middle ground. I thought he did a good job of that tonight.
Except the first 2 possessions, for the record. First 2 defensive.
He's a little excited.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the definition of 200 miles an hour. Yes, but yes, after that, I 100% agree.
And he was awesome. Desmond Bane, dude, as advertised, 23 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks.
Wow.
7 of 18. We gotta clean that up a little bit. He had how many turnovers? 4 turnovers. 2 or 3 of them were some of it the worst turnovers.
Yeah.
Like just like driving in the lane and just like losing the ball just flying up into the air.
Yeah.
I think there was a play early on where he tried to drive into the lane and it seemed like the ball like hit a dead spot on the floor, which if you've never dribbled like a regulation official like NBA basketball, they just bounce really oddly. And on those floors, because those floors are portable, right? Like they are elevated up off the ground and they can be removed. There are dead spots on them where you'll put the ball down and it just doesn't come back up in the same way. You know, we've been able to play on, you know, those floors the last couple of years doing our group nights, and like you'll be out there and you'll put the ball down and it just doesn't come back up. So he had a couple of those, but the 3 of 6 from behind the arc, like he got going early, had a couple of threes, and it was just like this sigh of relief of like, oh my gosh, like he can hit threes.
Yeah, especially because he made his first one. Especially because he made his first one. That was electric. That was a really fun moment.
Like 2 for 11 or what was it in the
preseason? It was 1
1
for
11.
11. I think it was.
Yeah, it was really not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was awesome.
No, sorry, back up. It was 1 for 9 because he was 11%. That's what it was.
That's what it was. I knew there was an 11 in there. Yeah. And then, that play that he had towards the end where he dives on the ball or dives on the ground and pick up the ball, goes to the line, makes both of his free throws. he was awesome, and he was talking about after the game just how great the crowd was, and it just felt good for him to come out and play well. This is the best Desmond Bane game that we've had. Like, we got a good Desmond Bane game, and I would 100% every time take it in the regular season over preseason.
That moment where he dives on a loose ball, gets the foul call, and he gets up, it to me, I'm just reading, people's emotions and facial expressions. It almost looked like when he got up, he was celebrating, but not big. And then he looked over at Jalen, who was really celebrating. And then he kind of got his cue from Jalen. He was like, "Oh, we're doing this then, yeah," And he took it to another level and was interacting with the room and stuff. And that was kind of cool. I know it goes back to Jalen, but I thought that was kind of a funny moment. It was a big play, but it seems like he was kind of looking at Jalen.
I think it's kind of fitting. Everything goes back to Jalen because that's when it felt like the Magic were playing.
Right. Yes.
Without Jalen, this team just doesn't feel complete, even still.
Yeah, I agree. And that's literal. That's not just figurative. That's literally. I would say X's and O's basketball wise tonight. Even when Jalen was not on the floor, X's and O's wise, it felt very different and statistically was not as good either. How's that for a segue into your...
I wanted to keep talking about good stuff. Well, real fast. Franz was amazing. Franz is so disgusting. He looks unstoppable. 2 of 5 from behind the arc.
Yeah. By the way, it's 1:45 a.m. That's why I can't keep it together. Franz was amazing. Franz also had the worst turnover of the night. You talked about the Desmond Bane stuff.
Was that?
When he lobbed to Tyus Jones. I don't know if he thought it was someone else.
What was that, bro?
I don't know if he thought it was
Desmond's
someone
coming
else.
in from the left corner and he throws the lob to Tyus. It's like, what are we doing?
Bro. Which I can laugh because, again, Franz was so good in this game. He was great. But I was just like, what? I don't know if he just in the corner of his eye thought it was someone else. That's the only explanation because he's not throwing a lob to Tyus Jones. But
one was rough, bro.
Outside of that, Franz was elite. He was so good tonight.
Yeah. And then Paolo, pretty slow to start, but finished really strong. 24 points, 11 rebounds, led the Magic in rebounding. He was great. Also had a big block, added an assist and a steal. 7 of 17 from the floor. I feel like the offense didn't look and feel great early in the game. It felt like everybody was kind of getting their shots in the flow of the offense, and then it was like, oh, hey, it's time for us to get Paolo look. And then the answer was like, oh, we're just going to post up Paolo on the block and throw him the ball. And he was getting doubled on the catch every single time, and it did feel like he was kind of forcing it a little bit, at least in the first half. And I want to say out of 17 attempts, at least 5 or 6 of those were just tough contested, fall away shots, not a ton of stuff. Him getting towards the rim. Did have 12 free throws, made 9 of them. We need him to make 10 or 11 of those. That's needs to get a little bit better, but made big plays down the stretch. He cut late in the game. I think it was Bane that found him in the lane. And as that pass is getting made, I'm like, oh, this is an easy 2 points here. And it seemed like Paolo was thinking about the awesome dunk that he was about to have before he caught the ball. And the ball just slipped out of his hands and went out of bounds. He made up for it a couple of possessions later where he cuts back door, gets the feed, catches the ball, fully gathers to make sure that he has it before he goes up and makes the big slam that put the Magic up. I think it was a couple of points at that point.
Yeah.
One of the final possessions of the game, but just somebody mentioned it in the chat, he just tripped into a 24-point, 11 rebound double-double. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of the chat, I did want to we'll bring up some of these messages again just because there are people watching with us live right now with this surprise 60 people at
impromptu
2 a.m.
Yeah, impromptu live show. So we'll give him some love. Blaze says TDS is a sniper. Yeah, I'd like to talk about Tristan a little bit.
Oh my gosh, Tristan Da Silva. You don't win this game without him either.
He was so good. Kevin says, can't spell Florida without the O, baby. Let me also add, you can't spell heat culture without an L. chew on that.
Can't spell Spolstra without an L.
Oh my gosh. Okay. No, that's good. I appreciate that. Hanish, I think this is, says, was at the game. Energy was electric. Had to come back and watch the highlights, and now got to tune in with the 6-man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Let's see. Alex says, what a game. Felt just like the playoffs. We played better, but the energy was there all around. 100%. Brian says, repping from Cali. When I come to town next, I want to link up with y'all. I hope Wendell can ride off his momentum from the end of the game. He was bad for most of it, but finished strong. Proud of him. Let's see a couple more of these. Jamie says KCP was 2 of 9 tonight from 3. Yeah. Cole, I think, had 14 or 15 points. Maybe this is toxic. I don't know. Cole, let's see. Cole had 9 points. KCP had 15 points, and Gary did not score. In case you're just keeping track of those things.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
Anymore.
I know you don't, but some people do.
I wish him well.
Yeah, of course. I'm Jovi says 2 a.m. live stream. Yep, we are here. We are here.
We are.
Emilio says having a shooting guard that can shoot feels good. Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
Amazing. Isaiah Torres says, as a Grizzlies fan, I'm happy for y'all. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Love that support. And then let's see. Tony's here. He says he's still editing photos. Hey, let's give a shout out to Tony and the entire creative team at the Orlando Magic working late nights / early mornings, getting content
we
for
want
us.
to talk about best dressed of the evening.
Tony was looking.
My guy, Tony Quinn, put that on tonight.
Looking great.
Looking good, man.
A couple more. Vikram says, hey guys, what a game. Absolutely. Ale Liddy says 1:45 a.m. Oh, we're about to, well, not
whatever, bro. Good for
you
man.
might. I'm not gonna read that. You might, but we are not. I'm about to go to bed after this. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You guys are, man, I can't believe I put that up there. That's really funny. Anyway, Kevin says, I'm assuming you're talking about Paolo, literally got blitzed every time he touched the rock.
Every time.
It's the only thing I wanted to add to the Paolo thing. There were several times when that happened tonight that he did have a guy open. Like he had a teammate.
Got to know that the double is coming, and a couple of times he missed it and turned the ball over.
I know, and I'd like to think I think it is going to get better, but like the whole concept of adding shooters, which we did this summer, was to alleviate that. And so I'd like to think in his mind he knows that they're there and he's got to find him instead of feels like he has to force it himself. And so it didn't happen all the time, but there were several times that happened tonight. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. Shout out the chat.
Somebody mentioned our voice. At what point did your voice go?
I mean, player introductions probably.
That's all. I was cooked before tip off.
Yeah, it was worth it though. It was worth it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like as I get older, I feel like it used to last longer. I used to be able to yell louder for longer in the games. Oh, come on, bro. Seriously?
I'm just sitting here.
Some respect.
I'm just sitting
Unbelievable. Here. Anyways, somebody asked. Brian Hurd said, who do you think helped out more, Suggs or Tristan da Silva? Let's talk about Tristan da Silva because my answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
Tristan was every bit as good and every bit as important as Jalen Suggs was in this game. Maybe not, but was just freaking awesome. You don't win this game without him. 16 points, 5 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. And each one of them just felt like in a moment where the offense has stalled and you needed something really badly. And he was just great. He was so good. Picked up right where he left off in Eurobasket. Was just freaking lights out. If that is anywhere close to the level of player that we're going to get this year, and we can figure out some of the other stuff, which we will get to one negative in a moment. But like for the most part, dudes just played really, really well tonight. And Tristan was just as important as anybody.
Yeah, and I mentioned it on the post-game live, like what he's done in the summer and into preseason and now into the regular season, it almost feels automatic. Like when he's lined up and he's open for 3, it feels like almost automatic. Even like his second 3 tonight, that was a quick release. Like he the ultimate definition of catch and shoot. Like I don't know. I think it's very important. But the other side of him is that he's not just one-dimensional. He's not a one-dimensional player. Like, his defending is also quite good, and he showed that as well tonight. And so, and ball handling too. Like, he's very capable, bringing the ball up when he needs to. And so all in all, I'm just so impressed with Tristan. Like, I mean, think about that wing style, right? If you're talking Paolo, Franz, Tristan, like, who else has a trio like that in the league, of that combination of size and playmaking and shot making, and like the depth of that position is like really, really good. And I'm super, super happy with what we've seen from Tristan so far.
Like, Franz Wagner comes out of the game and you're thinking, oh, I'm getting a break.
Right.
And then Tristan Silva checks
Then Franz Wagner comes in.
Yeah. Which is genuinely one craziest, but also one of the best nicknames of all time. It's just, it's so good.
Yeah.
Those guys were awesome. Tyus Jones continues to leave quite a bit to be desired. 23 points. I don't want to make
not 23 points.
Oh, I'm sorry,
no.
23 minutes.
There you go.
0 points. I don't want to make a massive deal about like the individual plus minus, but he was a minus 17. 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Tyus had a block tonight. I guess I missed that.
No, I remember it. Yeah.
What's crazy to me is like this guy, like, comes in as like the assist to turnover, king. And I've just seen 3 or 4 turnovers over the course of the last couple of games that he's played. And then I'm just like, bro, what? Like, that is not a play that somebody of his reputation should be making. Was 0 of 3 from behind the arc. If he's not going to knock those down, he can't be on the floor. Because the defense, like, he is genuinely a liability defensively. Like, people talked about, our most recent, like, kind of smaller guard was Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony is miles better of a defender than Tyus Jones is. Mm-hmm. DJ Augustine was bad as well. Yeah. But Tyus Jones, like, really, really struggled on that end. At least tonight he did. And we just need him to knock down threes. And if for no other reason than how good this other guy looked in the preseason and just how much energy he brings in the way that he makes plays, not super dissimilar to Jalen Suggs. For me, my patience with Tyus Jones is going to be very shortened knowing that we have Jace Richardson on the bench kind of, lying in wait. I midway through the third quarter tonight, I was ready to go to Jace Richardson.
Yeah.
And I would not have batted an eye if Jamal Mosley made that decision.
Yeah.
I think it's tough because, you bring the guy in, he's a veteran, he's got a great reputation around the league. He's on a 1-year deal, though. We all know that this is most likely a rental, and I'm not saying you go to it after game 1. You got to, kind of let him find his rhythm and let these things maybe work themselves out to a certain extent. But we get 12, 15 games into the season, and if we're not getting the level of production out of Tyus that we need, and by that point, hopefully he will, be playing 17, 18 minutes a game when Jalen is really back to full strength, and we'll see what it looks like at that point. But through, 4 preseason games and 1 regular season game, I have seen really nothing of value from Tyus Jones that we can't supplement with other guys.
Yeah.
You can say, well, what about like the calming presence in the starting lineup? Okay, like whatever. Paolo, Franz, Desmond, Jalen, like they're big boys. Like they'll be just fine without Tyus Jones in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not like totally jumping off of the Tyus Jones train because the idea of him is something that is really valuable to this team. But it's 1 game. A little bit worried about it.
Yeah. You mentioned, and we always say this, like, you can't take too much from individual plus minus, especially from a single game. But the gap, I think, is noteworthy because he was a minus 17. The next worst was minus 7.
True. Fair.
And I think that that is a stat you can pull from in that instance. You know, like you said, he 23 minutes minus 17 in a game that was a 4-point game. I think the eye test, you know, lines up with it as well. Like just watching this game, the offense, not even talking about his defense. You talked about the defense. I think the offense even struggled when he was out there. Not from a sense that he wasn't knocking down threes or whatever, but just the way the ball moved, it didn't feel the same. And I don't know if that's because of the personnel that he was with when he had his shifts or whatever. You can point to whatever you want, but it's just a fact that the minutes that he played tonight, I felt the offense was it just wasn't as quick and snappy and all the things the Magic are trying to do. So
I've got some pretty damning numbers here for us.
Oh dear.
That lineup, Tyus Jones, Wendell, Desmond, Franz, Paolo, 6 minutes tonight, had a 100 offensive rating, a 146 defensive rating. Their net rating was negative 46.2. In 11 minutes, that same lineup with Jalen Suggs, 111 offensive rating, 86 defensive rating, was a 24.9 net rating.
Wow. Yeah.
So that lineup tonight with Tyus was horrid.
Yikes.
That's matter really of fact, bad. I mean, not to crap all over him, but you know, he was a minus 17. There was only one lineup that he played with tonight that didn't have a negative net rating.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, it's one game, but it's also not super dissimilar to what we saw in the preseason too. So yeah, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Again, like we talked about earlier when we talked about Jalen, you got a back-to-back this weekend. If we don't see Jalen in one of those games, that means more Tyus. But I think that also means Jace. You know, if Tyus is starting, then I think Jace has an opportunity off the bench. So there could be a silver lining there. But I think that is a very, very big storyline to keep an eye on as we keep going through the season.
I think so too. Yep. I'm trying to think. I don't really have anything else that I wanted to go
I think we should talk about Jonathan Isaac really fast. Played 7 minutes. Did we hear anything after the game?
Nobody asked about it post-game. Okay. I went back and listened to everything. Very weird. To me, it didn't feel really like a matchup kind of thing. Goga was pretty solid, but also had some moments tonight of like, this is why he's not a starter. You know, for the people who are, you know, always and forever team start Goga, there were minutes is like, bro, like you just can't have like, it was like the Norm Powell, like it, and then like Kalel Ware or Bam Adebayo, like pick and rolls where those guys were just getting like back cuts every other possession, it felt like, and getting good looks at the rim, especially like in that second half. But yeah, the JI thing is weird. People pointed out the fact that he had his hand and like thumb area wrapped. He also had that the last preseason game as well. So I don't know that it's that. That's going to be one of those things that maybe we find out about tomorrow. I would, you know, also guess that maybe we don't hear anything about that until Friday, but hopefully that's nothing, you know, bad, but it definitely isn't a great sign. I'll say that.
Yeah, I've got nothing really to add. I was just curious if you'd seen or heard anything. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe it was matchup based. You know, who knows? I didn't see anything that would line up with that. But yeah,
well, if that's the case, then Tyus Jones should have been set.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
yeah, that's true.
It doesn't make any sense at all. If we're pulling guys after 7 minutes, there's no way that Tyus Jones should have played what it was 23 minutes. So
that's fair. Yep.
You know, maybe it's. I don't know. I hope it's not injury related, but maybe we'll find out soon here. Last thing, coming up on Monday when the Magic play the Philadelphia 76ers, the first road game of the year, we will be, or I will be, Kevin won't be there, obviously he'll be in Savannah, but I will be at Tin Roof on iDrive, and hopefully we'll be there with, you know, 100 200. I don't know how many people they can hold there. As many as we can fit in Tin Roof on I Drive. Tip-off for that game is at 7 o'clock, so that watch party is going to get going around 6:30. So be sure to come out, hang out, watch the Orlando Magic take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Hopefully at that time they will still be undefeated. Well, that is going to do it for this one. For the 56 of you still watching here, pretty close to, it's after 2 a.m. now. Good grief. Really appreciate everybody hanging out. Appreciate everybody that said what's up tonight. It was a ton of fun. Be sure to go and check out the Six Fan Show, which I don't know if that is up yet.
Oh, yeah,
Kev.
it is. Heck
Perfect.
yeah, it is.
Go check that out now if you haven't already. But yeah, opening night, 1-0, great start to the season. Appreciate seeing everybody. Such a fun night. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to the Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!